Hello and welcome again. This is our third session of the college experience portion of the YouScience Parent University series. My name is Dr. Ben Lester. I am the Director of Student Services here in the Cherokee County School District. I am joined today by Dr. Krista Webb. Dr. Webb.
Good afternoon, Dr. Lester. Hi, I'm excited to be back with you parents. I am Dr. Krista Webb, and I am the Curriculum Coordinator at Cherokee County School District for CTAE as well as Social Studies. And today, we've already had our overview of YouScience. We've talked about interest versus aptitudes. Today, we're going to look at all the information we can find out about colleges through YouScience. And this is one of my favorite portions of YouScience. So let me get out of this PowerPoint because I'm going to take you into my YouScience account and walk you through what you can find on your students' YouScience account. When I took the initial brain games, I took them as a student so that I would know exactly what our students were experiencing. So I want to walk you through from your student's perspective using my account. The first thing that I want you to recognize is that the dashboard, the page that comes up, is very colorful. And it has different segments: opportunities, best fit careers, welcome back. This little section is called Describing You, and colleges. We can enter any of these areas just by clicking on the appropriate tab on the dashboard. But we also have up here in the corner, in the far left-hand corner, what we refer to as a hamburger, is 3 little lines. It looks sort of like a hamburger. And you can click on this and it pulls up a menu for you. And you see, when I click on this and the menu's pulled up, I can also access colleges from here. So let's jump right to it. When you get onto the college page of YouScience, you'll notice at the top left, you can explore schools, and then you can also save schools. And we'll talk about how you do that in just a moment. You can look and see that I have 2 saved schools right now. So as we move on down the page, we see that we can filter by duration. This means we can filter by all colleges and universities, or we can filter it for just those schools that are predominantly 2-year schools, or we could filter by 4-year universities. So you can filter by duration. Then moving over, you can see there's a second filter, and this filter by location. Right now, I'm filtering by duration, all schools. I'm filtering by location, all schools. But then I'm looking at the possibility of looking at just in-state schools and just out-of-state schools. So I want to start and just look at in-state schools. When this comes up, notice that I also have a third filter here, and I can sort schools by distance or by cost. So right now, I'm filtering all schools in state by distance from my home. And we see that the closest for me is Reinhardt University. The second is Kennesaw State University. Southern Poly, we know, has been absorbed by Kennesaw State. There's shorter, Life University, but as we scroll down the page, and I don't want to scroll too fast because I don't want to make you dizzy, but there are multiple other in-state schools Some you may have heard of, like the Georgia Institute of Technology, Georgia Tech, Emory University, Georgia State, Morehouse Spelman, and then some maybe you've not heard of before. For example, I don't know that I have heard of, I'm trying to find one I haven't, Toccoa Falls College. I didn't know there was a college in Toccoa Falls. So let me check this out. I'm going to view this school. And what it does, the first thing you notice on the page is at the top, it tells you the college that you viewed. Notice in the left-hand upper corner, I could go back to all the schools page that I just left. But man, maybe I don't even know where Toccoa Falls is. So I want to click on this link. And what comes back is a little bit about Toccoa Falls, where it's located, gives me a little bit of information. This is just taking you, it's linked to Google for Toccoa Falls. So let's go back to our page and see all of the information we have. We know that this is a four-year private college, the type of college, four-year private. We know its enrollment, it's very small, only 937 students. The admission rate is 45%, and the total cost of attendance for 1 year is $35,054. We also know that the middle 50% of ACT scores is between 18 and 26. And the middle 50% of SAT scores is between 860 and 1090. As we scroll down the page, we can see some information about students. First, we can see gender. And as you move your cursor over the circle, you see that 46% of the students here are male and 54% are female. You can also find out about race and ethnicity. Notice that 77% of these students are white, 3% are Hispanic, 8% are Black, 7% are Asian, and then there's some little tiny ones that are other. When we look at the third circle, this is residency. 65% of these students reside in Georgia, 32% are coming from out of state, and 3% are coming from a foreign country. So we get some information about the school in general, what it takes for us to get admitted, how much it's going to cost, student population, and then we can continue to scroll and we get the graduation rates. And that's broken down into three sectors. One are our first year students that actually return after their first year. And Toccoa Falls College has a return rate of 66%. 35.3% of those students are graduating within 4 years, and students that graduate within 6 years, 45.5%. So I have a lot of information already about Toccoa Falls students, but I can get even more. Their overall admission rate, 45%. They had 759 applicants and they accepted 45% of those. And then it tells you in this table that is on the left what is required, what is recommended, and what is considered but not required for admissions. So you must have a GPA, you must have taken certain standardized tests, your high school record must have been fairly rigorous, you must have some recommendations from teachers, counselors, etc. And then it's recommended that your class rank be known and that your college prep be completed. And then what is considered is your talent and ability, but it's not required. Then we have a whole financial section. And we see in-state tuition, room and board fees, out-of-state tuition, other fees associated. If you add other fees, room and board, in-state tuition together, that gives you the average yearly cost that we saw initially of $35,000+. Then it shows you all the undergraduate majors that are offered. They have 27 majors and 15 areas of study. So let's look at education and see what they offer as an education major. Elementary education and teaching, junior high, intermediate, middle school education and teaching, secondary education and teaching, and music teacher education. So within the education career cluster, you could have one of 4 majors. Well, I'm really interested in Toccoa Falls College now. So I can scroll back up and I have a link here that takes me to the Toccoa Falls College admission page. And there, I'm on their admission page and I can get all of the information that I need. So I want to go back to my page, and I really like this school. So I think at this point, I'm going to save it. And the way I do that is I click this little star at the bottom, and that will add Toccoa Falls College to my saved list. Dr. Lester, at this time, do you have any questions?
This seems to be a really robust feature for families and kids to do some real purposeful investigations into colleges and universities, right? Is there a limit to the number of schools they can save or favorite?
No limit whatsoever. So let's continue exploring. We've looked at all colleges in state by distance. Well, maybe I'm a student that's really looking to go out of state to school. So let's change our filter to out of state. But I no longer want to filter by distance. This time I want to filter by cost. So I notice what comes up first is the United States Military Academy and the United States Air Force Academy, but they don't give us a cost. And sometimes schools don't give a cost, and they would show up first as these did on my page. But then here is Clovis Community College. I don't even know where that is, but it's the cheapest out-of-state school for me to attend. There's Antelope Valley College. I've never heard of that. Let's continue to scroll and see what we can find. The University of New Mexico, Valencia County campus doesn't appear to be very costly. Has about 2,200 students for their enrollment, and admissions are open. That means they will consider everyone that applies. I'm going to continue to scroll. Remember, I'm filtering by cost on this particular page. And I'm trying to find one that I know a little bit about. Let's go back up top and let me change my filter because I've never really heard of these schools. So instead of filtering by all, I'm going to filter by 4 years. Again, I'm filtering by out of state. And again, I'm filtering by cost. So again, first 2 that pop up, U.S. Air Force Academy, U.S. Military Academy, because they haven't listed their cost. But continuing to scroll, let's see if we find some colleges that we're familiar with. We can look at Florida State College at Jacksonville. Their enrollment, 26,164. They have open admissions. The cost, not too bad, $4,278. Let's go see what this is all about. So here I have some information from Florida State College. It's a 4-year public university. The enrollment 26,000, and the total cost of attendance 4,278, but this is in-state. I would be an out-of-state student. When I look at student breakdown, looks like 40% of the students are male and 60% are female. Looking at race and ethnicity, 49% of the students are white, 24% are Black, and 11% are other. Residency here, 93% of these students live in the state of Florida. There's 7% that are coming from out of state. This is a school that hasn't reported their graduation rates, so I don't have that information here. This school has open admissions. They admit any student who either has a high school diploma or a general educational development certificate, a GED. Here is their in-state tuition, but look, here's their out-of-state tuition. I would have to pay almost $10,000 in tuition for an academic year. Other fees would add to $1,400, and they do not report room and board. So I'm not finding out as much information about this college as I have my others. When we look at undergraduate majors, we can filter by what we're interested in. Family and consumer sciences, we could get a major in child care and support services management, child care provider assistant. If I were ready to take the next step and save this school, I would do so, but I don't think I want to save this school. So I am going to scroll back to the top and go back to my schools list. Any questions at this point, Dr. Lester?
Yes, Dr. Webb, is there a way to search by program of study or a particular major, or are these the filters that we have?
These are the filters that we have.
Okay.
But once we have careers, when we do our next session, we will be best matched to careers. That will tell us appropriate majors for those careers. And sometimes that will link us to schools as well. So we'll explore that a little more in our next session.
And then Dr. Webb, I think parents might have a question too. Is there anything within the YouScience platform that links to scholarships for these universities, or is that simply through the universities themselves?
It's simply through the universities themselves. Remember that link that we had to the admissions page for each university? With that, you would be able to find out some scholarship information if that's available.
Okay, thank you.
So one thing I do want you to know is every time you come back, you need to refresh. So I'm looking for 4 years. I'm looking for out of state, and I'm looking for cost. Let's spend some time looking at safe schools. These are schools that I've clicked on that I'm interested in. You saw Toccoa Falls College already. Let's look at Georgia Tech. I could have gone through the main page and found Georgia Tech again, but I had saved it in a previous search. Again, I can find out information about Atlanta by clicking the link here. I find out the type of institution, the enrollment, the admission rate, the cost of attendance. Remember, this is for an academic year in state. My ACT score should be between 30 and 33. My SAT score should be between 1310 and 1500. And remember, this is the middle 50%. For students, 65% male, 35% female. For race and ethnicity, 20% Asian, 50% white, 7% Hispanic, 7% Black. For residency, 53% are in-state residents, 37% are out-of-state, and 9% are foreign. When we look at graduation rates for Georgia Tech, first-year students returning after their freshman year, 96.7% return back. Students that graduate within 4 years from Tech, 40%. And students that graduate within 6 years, almost 85%. When we look at the admissions rate, it's 32% of 27,277 applicants. So on any given year, Georgia Tech has between 25 and 30,000 people apply, and they take about a third of those applicants for their freshman class. Notice that you have to have your GPA and standardized test. You have to have a rigorous high school record, and you have to have completed your college prep track. Then they consider some other things as well, but this is what is required. Financially, when we look at in-state tuition, this is for an academic year. We add that together with the cost of room and board and with other fees, we get that $32,000 cost of a 10 or 27,000, whatever it was. I can't remember right now. We have 55 majors in 16 different areas of study. I think most people recognize Tech as an engineering school. Oh my goodness, lots of engineering majors here. But I'm not really interested in engineering. I'm interested in social sciences. They have a geographic, information science, and cartography major, as well as an international relations and affairs major. I've already saved this school. I was very interested in it. So I am going to click and go to their admissions. They're not finding it right now. Hang on a second. Let's see if their link is, oh, that's the financial calculator, and it's not working right now. Let's go back to admissions office. And there it is. So I can find out all about Tech, academics, admissions, campus life, everything, because this is the Georgia Tech site. So for our parents, oftentimes having students explore schools on YouScience is much better as initial introduction to a school than planning a visit. You can weed out some schools that you might think you're interested in, but after looking at them in depth online, you realize you're not really that interested in them at all. You may decide that there are some schools that you're interested in that you've never even considered or that you didn't even know existed. And there are thousands of colleges and universities on YouScience. You can go deep down the rabbit hole here because you can explore any particular college or university you like. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Dr. Webb. I'm excited to see the next session where we look at careers, explore careers in the intersection of the aptitude, brain games with the careers, and then using that careers to help us decide and look for programs of study for good fits for universities. So I really like the point you made about this kind of being a way to filter through some of the universities that we actually want to do a site visit to, because so much information is here within the platform. So yeah, just looking forward to the next section, the next session, if you will, about the careers and how that connects to programs of study too.
Let me also remind parents that you don't have to constantly filter through all of these schools. That's why we have the little save button up top where you can save the schools that you're interested in right here. And then when you may suggest to your student, if they're exploring schools while they are away from home, if they're on their computer at school, exploring colleges and universities, once that they find they're interested in, save them. And then you can explore them together at home. And if you decide it's worth making a visit, then you've at least done some preliminary homework. You know a little bit about the school where you're taking your student to visit, and you have a good idea of what the cost will be, what the student population is like, and what the requirements to get admitted to that school are. So it provides you a wealth of information as a parent.
Well, thank you, Dr. Webb. I think we'll wrap up this session focusing on exploring colleges, and then we'll look forward to the next session as we take a deep dive into the careers feature.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.